So it feels like I haven't left Alaska because it's like 0 degrees in Texas, which hasn't been like that since what, the 80s, if not longer than that. But with a snowed-in day, it has given me time to think. In fact, I had a question that popped into my head when I read this verse. James 1:6. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed in the wind. So I had a question in my mind, which was, how do you not doubt when you don't have an answer, or when you don't have everything solid from God, or he seems silent, or everything around us is just kind of making us feel anxious or confused? And it made me think of 2 words: grace and righteousness. I was talking to God about it, and he revealed to me that with all my talk about grace, which we all love to talk about, is God's grace, it doesn't mean that we actually know what it means. What really reveals the depth of our understanding is our actions. And with all my talk and discussion about it, I realized that I'm still trying to justify my own woes and pains from my past through trying to be a good Christian, through trying to do good things, which means I haven't accepted his gift of his son fully. And so as a result, I have emotions like fear and anxiety that frequently pop up that makes me always try to be good enough. Or I struggle with feeling of, well, how can I truly worship God when I don't deserve it because of all of these things that I've done? And that isn't necessary. Grace is more than salvation. It's a channel of relationship, the door to the armor of God. It's God's gift to be able to fight the very things that I'm fighting because I'm still trying to make myself good enough to God. And it is a path of power. God tells us that we are powerful in the Lord, not because of the things we do that justify, but because of him. Righteousness and grace cannot be separated. Grace is the door, and righteousness is the instruction book of how to walk in God's presence, to turn away from that fear, that doubt. Righteousness is not only a deed, but in a sense, it is a guide on how to confront our past. It's not only an expression of faith, but a reconstruction, a reconciliation of investment for our future. The reason it says, and how we can persevere to be complete in his work, to be able to go forward, is not because, we have the right words to say, or we have that just emotional moment with God. It's like, yeah, but what about when we don't know? Or Corrie ten Boom, for example. Like, what if it doesn't go her way? Where she's locked up with prisoners because she shared the gospel before, because she did what God had told her to do to save the Jews. It doesn't always end with a sunset. We know our identity because our purpose is God. It isn't the results. The result is the gift. The answers that we seek is the gift. We may have an argument with a brother, or a fallout with a family member, or some other, maybe you're sexually abused, or your child dies. Does that mean that God isn't there? No. He uses this to give us a chance to decide what we're gonna do with it. How or will we respond to God amidst this? And he takes that moment to let us choose, and then he begins to reveal himself to us. It is an instruction book, so that in those times we can find victory, that we can find him in the darkness when it seems like he's far away. That's the beauty of grace.